The biggest challenge was getting people to understand that placing a baby in a box is a good thing. I mean, when I first came to America and started to promote this, people were looking at me like, what do you mean we're putting babies in boxes? That's the most ludicrous idea I've ever heard. But they have to understand that putting a baby in a box is a hell of a lot better than pulling a baby from a dumpster. So if you have a box or a dumpster, which one would you rather choose when these are your two options?
This is the moment 3 people find a newborn inside a garbage bag at this dumpster.
Further explained that she panicked, did not know what to do or who to call.
Everybody has an aha moment. And my aha moment, I was actually standing outside a church in Cape Town, South Africa, where as I was walking in, there was a baby safe in the side of the wall. And I was like, what is this and what is it used for? And they said, well, women come here at night and they leave their babies in this box. And then someone from the church adopts a child. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, does this really work? I mean, are women really placing their babies in boxes? And they had saved 7 babies that year. The first baby, they actually named Moses. And so that really resonated with me because as a firefighter and a medic, again, I've always known about the safe haven law, but I had never seen anything like this before in my life. And on the flight back from Cape Town, South Africa, on a Delta napkin, I hand drew my version of the baby box and came back to the United States and started the uphill battle of doing something in America that had never been done before.
She's gonna open up the door. As soon as this door is opened up, one of the alarms is already going off. It's a silent alarm that mom will not hear. When she places baby inside the box, another alarm goes off that she will not hear. When she shuts the door, she won't be able to reopen the door. The door actually locks once baby's placed inside. The baby can only be retrieved from the inside of the fire station, or in this case, the inside of the hospital. Inside, you'll see a green light that is always green if there is no baby in our box. Once there's a baby placed in our box, you'll see a green plus a yellow orangish light because the beam from across has been broken. After mom places her baby in one of our safe haven baby boxes, one of the staff or the EMTs or the paramedics or the nurses will come down to the baby box. They're gonna open the inside door. They're gonna grab the bassinet and they're gonna head for the emergency room.
Now, these are boxes under the safe haven law that allow a mother in crisis to anonymously surrender her unharmed, unwanted newborn.
Someone anonymously left a newborn with the umbilical cord still attached.
Safe haven baby box.
The safe haven baby box. The safe haven baby box.
Safe haven baby box.
So it's the most important thing about the safe haven law is allowing a parent to surrender a child. The most important thing about the baby boxes is the anonymity piece. You know, if the safe haven law was enough, we wouldn't still be having abandoned babies. And the safe haven law in America basically says that any state in this country, you can walk into a hospital, hand your child to a person, and turn around and walk away. And so if every state in America has that law, why are we still having abandonments? And so anonymity is very important to some people. Some people it's not that important, and we are still getting women that walk into hospitals and hand their child to a person. But there are some that want that anonymity. And so for them to get that, we have to ensure that, one, the boxes never have cameras on them. And so when we go into a contract with a location, they sign stating that they will never have a camera on that baby box. That is one of the most important things for these parents. And so we make sure that these locations know you can't have a camera on it. You're signing a legal document stating that you won't put a camera on it. Some of these parents even call us after they've surrendered. And that, I guess for me, that's where the hope comes in. Because you hear people all the time saying, well, you know, these women don't want these babies. They're just throwing them away like trash in your boxes. And it's like, that's the farthest thing from the truth. These parents love these kids. They just want something more, and they're in a crisis that you and I will never understand.
There are moments in our lives that define us. For some, it's a series of life events, but for others, it's a single moment of clarity that hits you like a bolt of lightning from the heavens. For me, this single defining moment was meeting my birth mother and discovering that I was a child conceived not in love, but by a brutal act of violence. The day I reconnected with her, I drove to the state of Michigan to reunite with her. My heart was racing as I walked up to her door with my husband by my side and knocked 3 knocks. She invited us in, and I couldn't take my eyes off of her. As I sat there in her living room, holding my husband's hand, the inevitable question came up. It was the elephant in the room that had to be addressed. Who is my birth father? I was completely unprepared to hear the story that was about to be dropped like a bomb in my world. Sandy immediately got up from her chair and walked back to her bedroom and returned with a blue folder that was tattered and worn. She pulled out a police report. Sandy began to tell me the story of a dark night. She was just 17 years old, doing what teenagers have done for generations, partying with friends, while parents think they're studying. On this night, she accepted a ride from a person she did not know, completely oblivious to the danger. This man didn't take her home, but rather took her to a dark road a few miles outside of town and violently beat and raped her. After he finished his attack, he left her on the side of the road to die, or at the very least find her own way home. Bloody and traumatized, physically and emotionally, she walked all the way home and went to her room and sobbed alone on her bed. This night marked the beginning of many decades of pain and desolation for young Sandy. The next day, Sandy confided in her mother. The story came out in waves of pain. Her mother urgently took her to the hospital and then to the police station. Sandy continued this gruesome tale. She explained that just when her life felt like it was getting back to a sense of normal, she discovered the unthinkable. She was pregnant. She was devastated. Her mind raced. What will people say? Will she be known as the town slut for a crime that she didn't commit? She told me that this was the exact moment she fell into complete depression. Sandy said she cried for weeks. Finally, with advice from her mother, she began to contemplate the option of an illegal abortion. She explained to me that she wanted to get her life back. In her mind, she could make this new life go away. Then she could go on with her life like nothing ever happened. She tried to convince herself that having an illegal abortion would put her life back together again. But the truth remained. No amount of cash, drugs, surgical instruments, or for that matter, all the king's horses and men would be able to put things back together again. The drive home was silent. I was still processing what she had said. The next few weeks were equally as silent. I became more and more distant and angry. I couldn't understand how this could be my life. My exact words at the time was, "This sucks. I don't want this to be my life." All of these selfish thoughts and deep questions came rushing to my psyche. Was I simply the rapist baby? Spawn of Satan? Or demon seed? Or any of the other names I had heard by those justifying an abortion? I had heard the simple justification for the murder of babies conceived from rape on countless occasions by those who claim to stand for life. I am against abortion, except in the case of rape. Truth be told, it was a justification I had once held myself, primarily because it was never about me. Funny how our perspective changes drastically when a political talking point becomes personal.
The biggest challenge was getting people to understand that placing a baby in a box is a good thing. I mean, when I first came to America and started to promote this, people were looking at me like, what do you mean we're putting babies in boxes? That's the most ludicrous idea I've ever heard. But they have to understand that putting a baby in a box is a hell of a lot better than pulling a baby from a dumpster. So if you have a box or a dumpster, which one would you rather choose when these are your two options? So when I first started Safe Haven Baby Boxes, I knew that I didn't want to take any government money or any state money. I don't want to take tax dollars to do what I do. But Indiana fought me hard. It's interesting because the very state that pushed me the hardest is the state that's had the most babies surrendered in their boxes. And so when I first started Safe Haven Baby Boxes, I went to a legislator and said, I need you to build a baby box bill so that I can put baby boxes in fire stations and hospitals. And so we passed a law. It was House Bill 1016 in 2015. And that said that the Department of Health and the Department of Child Services here in Indiana was supposed to make protocols, policies, and procedures for the use of baby boxes. I wanted them to tell me what I needed to do to make this box as safe as possible. And they had until December 31st to get this done. On December 30th, they took one word out of the bill, which was the word recommended. We wanted them to recommend protocols, policies, and procedures. They came back and said, since you wanted us to recommend them, we're not recommending anything. We recommend you don't do baby boxes, and we recommend that it's not a good idea. And I was like, well, that wasn't what we asked you to do. And so with the help of our attorney, we made our own protocols, policies, and procedures. And as soon as I launched, we started getting registered letters from the Department of Child Services, the Department of Health, saying, shut your boxes down, they're illegal. And I'll tell you, these boxes have never been shut down. I never shut them down. I fought them so that women of this state could have this option always. And while I was in the midst of this fight, the very first baby was surrendered in one of those baby boxes that we first put in that we were fighting over. And once she was surrendered in that box, 5 months later, a second baby came. It started to open up people's eyes like, okay, let's rethink this. Well, if they've got 2 babies in this box, these are children's lives that have been saved. What are we doing here? And so then we started to pass legislation and the state started to get behind me. And now we've had 25 babies in boxes in Indiana in 5 years. I have this, I'll read this to you, and you can share this. This person called one of our baby box locations, and this is from the mayor of this city sent us this message. He says, good morning, person's name, has called this morning very adamant that we are committing a felony by installing baby boxes that are not UL listed. He said that he would like someone to email him back with a copy of the document attached showing the seal with a UL listing. Then he will be open to a phone conversation prior to him filing a felony charge on us because of installing a substandard box that is actually a converted pig trough held together with automotive wire. Wait, what? But you see, this is the hate that we get. And so the more I talked, the more people understood. But it really took a long time for people to wrap their head around the fact that this is a good thing. Maybe calling it a safe haven baby box wasn't the best choice of words. Maybe using a black box wasn't the best color. But these boxes are saving lives. You have people saying, what are you doing? Why would you do it? Why would you allow someone else to raise your child? What kind of mother would do that? Abandoning would be in a dumpster or a trash can. Surrendering would be in one of our boxes. So we have to change the narrative. We have to change the wording. Do I think it's a good option? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. That doesn't matter. I should be supporting her decision and saying, you know what? That's a great option for you. I'm glad you chose that. Now, what can I do to assist you on this journey? And that's how we walk alongside people. That is how we become the hands and feet of Christ.
You never know the unfathomable potential within a child. If given the gift of life, nurture, and opportunity, their growth knows no bounds. Countless mothers, faced with difficult decisions, have birthed an infinite realm of opportunities for our world. From a humble beginning as a child, their impact can transcend all limits. The world in your arms holds the power to transform the world.
Well, I'm a retired firefighter and medic, so I've always known about the safe haven law. But I didn't realize how much my life mirrored it until I met my biological mother when I was 37 years old. She was 17 years old. She was brutally attacked and raped and left along the side of the road. And she pressed charges against a man who had raped her, and he was arrested and charged, and then she finds out she's pregnant. And she was hidden for the remainder of the pregnancy and then gave birth in April of 1973 and abandoned her child 2 hours after that child was born, and that child was me.
One of the reasons you're coming here is to say thank you to the birth mom and to let her know this sweet baby girl is so loved.
Yes. I mean, and that was our only reason for doing any of this, was to let her know that her daughter's taken care of and that, we love her and that she will be cared for the rest of her life.
The birth mothers are real heroes, and they do the most generous thing in the world. And that's by giving you what is now a beautiful, beautiful family.
The founder of Safe Haven Baby Boxes, Monica Kelsey, was abandoned when she was an infant. Now she wants women to know there are safe options for them and their babies.
We honor you today, that what you have done is selfless, it's remarkable, and it's courageous. And you should be very proud of yourself.
On a spring day of March in 2013, I received a call that my birth mother was in the hospital and not doing well. For 7 days, she was on a ventilator, fighting for her life. And for 7 days, I was sitting beside her, praying that God would give me more time with the woman who sacrificed so much to bring me into this world. Before I left, I kissed her on the cheek and said, "Love you, girlfriend. You're my hero." The most selfless gift a mother can give is her child, and she gave me freely. She believed in me until the day she died, and I believed in her. She was with me as I took my first breath, and I was with her as she took her last. I am continually amazed by God's plan and purpose. He allowed Sandy to be there for me when I needed her the most. And with amazing grace, He allowed me to be there for her when she needed me the most. Every life, regardless of circumstances or conception, had a plan and a purpose by God.